Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about one of the things I really do love talking about, and that is, what are your gifts, your talents, and what are your good karmas? What have you come here to do in this lifetime? But especially finding purpose based on who you are, your gifts, your talents, this will be everything that in astrology is about the fifth house. The fifth house in Vedic astrology is called the house of Punya, which means past life good credit that is due in this lifetime. Punya. So when you think about child prodigies, that children are able to suddenly play the piano when they're practically toddlers, or play the violin, play the piano, or these brilliant geniuses, what do you think of? I always think, well, maybe they developed that in their past life, and then they come back and all of a sudden they remember it all. So this is Punya. Past life, good credit that is due in this lifetime. To me, that equates to talent. Talents. We come into this world with specific talents, things we're better at. It's because we developed them before. This is Punya. All right, fifth house. The fifth house, I have to be honest with you, is my favorite house of the chart. I know many people look to the ninth house because it's a house of luck and blessings. And I personally love the fifth house because it's creativity. How are we creative? And when you do look at your chart and you find, well, I don't have any planets in the fifth house, that's not everything, It is actually the planet that rules your fifth house that will tell you about your gifts and your talents. What it's all about for you. Where are your goals? Where are your gifts? Also, planets that may be aspecting the fifth house. In other words, if they're in the 11th house opposing it, or if the planets aspect by their special Vedic aspects, they're throwing their energy to the house. And you may see an empty fifth house, but you might have all these planets aspecting it, which is essentially like those planets being in that house. So it takes someone to know astrology to really figure out what's going on with your fifth house. Everyone's got gifts and talents. Everyone. Some people just don't actually know exactly what they are, but it's what comes natural, or it's the things that you really like. Okay, I'm gonna give you all the odds and ends about this fifth house, my favorite house of the zodiac. But before I do, I have to remind everyone, go to my website, galacticcenter.org, and sign up for my free newsletter. While you're there, notice my Patreon group. Become part of our spiritual community. We meet live every week. Love this group of people. You can be part of that. And another thing is my galactic planner. It will give you your chart. It will tell you what's in your fifth house, what rules your fifth house. It gives you a whole natal reading. Plus, it gives you all the transits that are going to be happening for you to prepare for the whole year. Go to galacticplanner.com. And last but not least, if this has inspired you to learn Vedic astrology, I am starting semester 1, my live classes, again in February. Get ready to really learn astrology. Become my student. Go to universityofvedicastrology.com. So let's get back to the fifth house. And in astrology, let me explain to those that don't even know what a house is. The chart is your map. It's your life's map. It is based on your time, your day, your year, and where you're born. The map is drawn up and it is divided into 12 houses. Now, your time of birth is what determines where the planets are in what house. So it is important to figure out your time of birth. Now, for those of you that don't have a time of birth, but you have an around time, for that day, if you can figure out where your moon is, you can make the moon the first house and count 5 houses from the moon. And you should do that anyway, even if you have your birth time. Look at it from the moon as well as from the ascendant. But your 5th house is what I'm talking about. So the 5th house is considered the house of creativity. Being creative. Now, it doesn't always mean being an artist. It means being able to create things. My youngest son has his moon in the 5th house, and he's not artistic, but he creates businesses. He's an entrepreneur, and that is the 5th house. Entrepreneurship, being able to create ideas, create businesses, create things, not just, being an artist. But the 5th house does definitely rule art. And I happen to know some of the greatest artists alive today. They don't have planets in their 5th house, but the ruler of the 5th is so strong and powerful. What do I mean by ruler? Each of the houses are ruled by a planet, determining what sign is on that house. So in other words, if you have Aries on the cusp of your 5th house, then Mars rules it. And wherever Mars goes will tell you all about your gifts, your talents, your creativity. But let's go back to the meanings of the 5th house. Let's make this very simple. Since it is things that we create, guess what else it rules? Children. We create children. That's creation. Yes, so it is the house of children. The blessings from children, and children are a blessing. So that's another thing, puva punya, good credit due in this lifetime. So the 5th house is children, things we create artistically or business-wise, anything we create. Another thing the 5th house is, it's got a lot of meanings, and a lot of people go, well, how do you converge all of that? Trust me, you will once you really learn astrology. You will learn it. But it is also the house of investing, investments. So it has a lot to do with money as well, investing in investments, stock market. But it is also the house of opening your heart. It actually rules the heart energy too. So it deals with love, but not in the sense of love that is marriage. It's dating, it's courtship, it's meeting someone for the first time and having that infatuation of where the heart begins to open. That's the 5th house. And did you know it's also the house of fun? It deals with sports, sporting events, theater, everything to do with the creative arts too. So it's the house of falling in love. It's the house of sports, creation, and get this, it's also the house of intelligence. People that have powerful planets ruler in the 5th house are very smart. They may not be smart in accordance to taking tests or grades, but they are what I call common sense. And you realize there's a lot of people today with no common sense. But the 5th house means you just get it. You understand the mechanics behind things. And by the way, I have noticed when people have Mars in the 5th house, many times they are engineers or computer programmers. Why? Because they can create these things. And Mars deals with machinery. And it deals with understanding how things work and engineer. Mars in the 5th house. I have seen people with Venus in the 5th house. And especially if it's in Taurus or Libra, which rules Venus, Venus rules those signs, they are artists. They do create things. They are painters. They draw, they paint, they create. They could be into fashion, design, beauty, anything to do with beauty when you have Venus in the 5th house. And Jupiter in the 5th could mean an abundance of creative talent. And anytime you have planets in the 5th house, they can denote children as well, unless they're all malefics. Sometimes that could prevent children if you have malefics aspecting the 5th house or in the 5th house. And what do I mean by a malefic? Let me just tell you. The malefic planets are Mars, Rahu Ketu, Saturn, and believe it or not, the Sun. All of those are detractors from children if all of them aspect this house. But I've seen many people with malefics in the 5th house and they have plenty of children. I have many planets in my 5th house. I actually have I don't have Mars. I have Saturn, I have Sun, I have Mercury, and I have Neptune, all in my 5th house. Now, I have 3 children, so those 3 planets, though, that are visible to the naked eye, excluding Neptune, actually each one describes one of my children. And you will find that when planets aspect the 5th house. It's fascinating. And the other thing that I absolutely love about the 5th house, it can tell you what your talents are. People that have Ketu in the 5th house are very unique with their talents. Very unique. Unusual talent beyond this world. Maybe it's psychic, intuitive abilities. Ketu in the 5th. Rahu in the 5th. People worry excessively about everything. Remember, the 5th house can denote the state of our mind, our creative mind, our expression. And with Rahu there, they obsess about things, but they are very creative and intense. Oh my gosh, are they intense. The other planets, let's see, Mercury in the 5th, is someone who's very analytical and thinking all the time, dissecting, figuring things out. The Sun in the 5th. The Sun in the 5th can give creative talent. I used to be a studio art major in college before I shifted to psychology because it was the closest thing to astrology, which leads me to my favorite aspect of the 5th house. Did you know the 5th house is the house of astrology? People don't realize that. They think, well, it's the 8th house. The 8th house deals with metaphysics, and it does. But the 5th house is the house of astrology. And you know why? The 5th house, one of the key notes to the 5th house is this: giving advice to others. The 5th house is said to be advisors to others. And actually in some of the texts it says advisors to the kings. This is the 5th house. So the 5th house deals with giving advice. So people that actually give advice in stock trading, stock traders, those that you figure out what stocks, you work with somebody, a stock trader. They have a powerful 5th house. Okay, so you're kind of getting what the gist of the 5th house is. My favorite house: talent, creativity that you've carried from past lives. This will make it easier for you in certain areas of the things you do. Absolutely. And whenever you have a connection between houses 3 and 5, you can be vastly creative, because the 3rd house deals with creative talent as well. And many, many times, I always say this, people can be performers, entertainers. 3rd house deals with entertainment, and the 5th house can deal with theater. And did you ever think of it like this? The 5th house is relative to the 5th sign. This is another tool to help you better understand astrology. The 5th sign is Leo. And Leo is said to be the most expressive and theatrical sign of all. 5, 5. 5th house, 5th sign, Leo. And And that's another thing. Leo is ruled by the sun. And the sun is the heart. So falling in love, the heart energy, opening your heart. This is how astrology works. Everything is tied in together. And it's a very fiery house because Leo is a fire sign, and it's actually called a Dharma house. The houses that are relative to the fire signs 1, 5, and 9 are Dharma. What is Dharma? Dharma is our purpose, what we're here to do. This is the 5th house. So when you're looking at a chart and you're trying to figure, what is my gift? What is my talent? You're going to want to look at your 5th house. And the 5th house is the house that deals with our karma, what is due in this lifetime, our puva punya, past life good credit. And if you really want to think of it in terms of the 9th house being the house of luck and fortune, the 9th from the 9th is the 5th. If you were to start from the 9th house, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 5th is the 9th from the 9th, which denotes luck and fortune as well. So this is just a little bit of what I teach in my university. But more than anything, I just wanted you to get a feel for what the 5th house is all about, because people don't realize, they think it's just the house of creativity or children. No, it goes much deeper than that. And because it rules astrology, is it a surprise that I would have planets there and that I would have 3 children? And I used to be an artist. This is 5th house. So I want you to start looking at your charts differently. Check out your 5th house. And when there's no planets there, don't worry. Doesn't mean you're not talented or gifted or creative. It just means the ruling planet will tell you everything about your gifts, your talents, such as if you have the ruling planet of your 5th house goes to the 9th house. Wow, then that means you are very talented and gifted and lucky too. So Saturn in the 5th house, I didn't go through what Saturn in the 5th, can mean a focus of the mind. And you know, I have Saturn, I have Mercury in my 5th house and the Sun, but I've written over 15 books, maybe more. I just haven't published all of them. But that is the focus of creating through writing. Mercury is communications. Saturn is focus. They're in Libra. So my Saturn is exalted. Of course, the Sun's debilitated. So there's a lot going on there. But the 5th house, look at the planets there. Jupiter can expand your talents. Saturn can focus your talents. Whereas Mercury will give you the ability to analyze and see things and create things. And maybe that's why I also write with Mercury in the 5th. I forgot one of the sayings for the 5th house. Whereas the 3rd house is communications, creativity, and writing, the 5th house is actually writing books. And therefore, when the planet, which I actually have the ruler of the 3rd and the 5th, it's my Sun, I've written 15 books. And you may find that to be true of yourself. And with it being performers or entertainers, yes, I used to dance in a ballet company. So that was that creative performer coming out as well. The ruler of the 3rd and the 5th. So what you learn with astrology, it's not just planets in a house. It's planets that rule the house and how they connect all the houses, the planets. That's the true art of synthesis with astrology. So with that, I think I'll close. If you would like to take my courses, go to my university, universityofvedicastrology.com. And remember, you can learn everything about me by going to my website, which is galacticcenterpatry.com. Thank you.